with all the features, there's also some gotchas. So we're just going to go through 2 quick gotchas that we find. One's about lifecycle stage names and reporting, and the other is around misattribution. Just going to talk about this first one, lifecycle stages. It's not as common. There's only a few clients we've had this issue with, but one of the things that are in the ads tool, Ian, that it puzzled me for a while is I was working with a client and I think they were spending, I think it was $50,000 or $60,000 a month on ads. And I could see all these ads coming in and contacts being created. I was like, oh, okay. I was creating contacts. But in the customers column, it was 0. I'm like, you're getting no customers from this. What's going on? Something doesn't seem right. Anyway, I found out that, they'd updated their lifecycle stage names, which is something you could do in options. I think, I don't know when HubSpot allowed that, maybe a year or 2 ago, the ability to change the lifecycle stages. And one of the things when you do change the name of a lifecycle stage, for example, they changed customer to partner because that was their model. Partners was essentially a customer. Even when you do that, HubSpot pops up a little form in big warning and says, be careful, reporting might be affected. Well, it is. And so in the ads tool, the customer column was always 0, and there's no option to bring in other lifecycle stage names in the column. So I had to get around that with custom reports in the end. But that's a big gotcha. And it's also a problem when you have 2 different lifecycle stages for managing customers. For example, you might have partner as one and member is another. If you've got 2 distinct types of customers, you might have 2 different lifecycle stages for categorizing those. And well, one of them or both of them is not going to appear on those default ad reports. So that's a little bit of a gotcha there that I just wanted to call out.
Craig, tell us about the next gotcha, which is to do with the one about organic posts and boosting that, which then becomes paid, but how that shows up in HubSpot.
This is a classic scenario, and we've got this. In fact, if you look at the show notes and see some of the screenshots, you'll see some of our ad reports, the out of the box ones, have 0 ROI or negative ROI because they're not counted as customers. And we're like, oh, wow, why is that? Well, it's a bit of a legacy issue because one of our best performing campaigns is a Facebook campaign I still have running all these years later, but it started out as an organic post. Remember the days when posts actually got organic reach, Ian?
That's right.
All back on now. Anyway, this post pushed to a very simple landing page, which converts really well. Haven't touched it in years. But because it was an organic post, it was just the UTM parameters, and the attribution has always been organic social. And so when we saw that working, we just started, I thought, let's boost this, see how it goes. And of course, as you do, you go, oh yeah, leave it for a week or 2, and that's working well. You come back a month later and wow, we've got all these contacts from this boosted post. That was fantastic. Then you look in HubSpot and you go, oh, hang on, they're not turning up in the paid reports. Oh, okay, we boosted it. They're still coming through attributed as organic social. And so what do you do, Ian? You go, of course, I will either try and change the attribution on that ad set, but I've got to be really careful. I know what I'll do. I'll duplicate it and I'll update the UTM parameters on the duplicated one. We'll test that. And of course, Facebook by that time has optimized the first ad set so well that the second one hardly performs and you get no results. So then you sit there going, well, what will I do? And you say, I'm just going to keep that first ad set going because it's working so well and I can't seem to duplicate and fix it. And years later, you're stuck with the problem that we have, which is none of those paid social contacts are being attributed. They're coming through as organic social. So we actually can't use the original reports for that. We get around it with other reporting. But that's a common one, misattribution. And most of the time it's because an organic post was boosted.
Craig, can I ask you, do you ever change the original source based on the original source drill down data?
I don't, but I know what you mean. It is possible.
Yes.
To update that if you know which ones. So yeah, correct. Theoretically you could do that. Yeah.
I'm just wondering whether that will flow through in the reporting.
It will in some reporting, but it won't. Yeah, it won't actually appear as ad activity in the timeline. So it's not going to go and update that, but it might actually fix some of the basic reports. I'm not
correct.
Sure. Yeah. I'm very wary. I almost never change original source. I don't think I've ever changed original source.
Really? Okay.
I let it come in. Yeah. Possibly though. You might be onto something there, maybe. But anyway, what's the main takeaway from that? Well, when you boost a social post, pretty
Be
much
aware.
straight away, go and update the
Yeah.
UTM or the tracking. Most of our ad campaigns are set up with a template and things like that. So you can overwrite them, I guess. But you're going to do that in the ad platform itself.
Actually, talking about tracking and templates, there is, when you have HubSpot connected, this is a little gotcha as well. People that have ad tracking templates and try to override tracking, you'll often see errors inside HubSpot because HubSpot is actually, when you connect your ad accounts, it starts to do some of that tracking that some people try to get sophisticated about. So you just need to be aware, because you will see these errors pop up that something can't be tracked or there's a tracking error. Is because of that.
Right.
In the tool. So just be aware of that when you're connecting things and doing stuff.
Yeah. I think one of the other things that happens, and this has been our case as well, you know how you can create those tracking URLs?
Yes.
Like those short links, those short URLs. And people will create the tracking URL that says organic social. They'll put that on the organic post, and then that post gets boosted. So it's not even the tracking template or URL that Facebook applies with the ads. It's like, oh, they click the link and it's using the bit.ly link or whatever it was.
Yes,
so
the tracking
you can't
URL.
even override it. And that's often the problem. So what do you do there? If that is your situation, we tend to then mentally, we've got to make a note and then manually go in and say, look, we're going to do reporting. We're going to include all these contacts in purely for ROI calculations.